Jamaica, our way of life is being affected, but our path to progress is not. Flow has continued to build its network infrastructure to prepare for times like these, to ensure that your connections to everything important are strong and reliable. And if you're a current Flow Home Service customer, upgraded services may be available in your area. Learning from home is smarter, and working from home is stronger than ever. The strength of the Flow network is yours and ready when you need it. Visit your nearest Flow store or discoverflow.co. It's our privilege to serve you.
Sorry, gents. It's nothing personal. Finally, the archipelago jewel. Now everyone will know the power of Junkanoo. You're the kids who's been giving Goldenhead a little bit of problems, huh?
We the... Hold up. What did we say our group name was gonna be?
influences us all from a very early age. The music we listen to, the books we read, the films we watch, the video games that we play, they all play a part in who we are and how we think. It is therefore crucial that the characters and messages in media reflect as much as possible the diversity that exists in the world. Here with us to talk about what major industry players like Walt Disney Animation and Nickelodeon are doing to ensure that there is diversity and across-the-board representation in animation are Jay Francis, VP of Current Series, Diversity and Inclusion at Walt Disney Animation Studios, and CAMILLE Eden, VP of Recruiting and Talent Development at Nickelodeon. The session will be moderated by Mounia Aram, whose company is a production and distribution house for African animation stories. The live chat feature is available and you can ask the panelists all your questions right there. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mounia. I'm Mounia Aram, and I'm very pleased to be with you at Kingston 2021 for this special digital edition. So we're going to speak about one of my favorite subjects, diversity. Why it is my favorite subject? Because we have a world full of different people, different countries, and in our industry, we are made to connect with everyone, from China to Jamaica, from the United States to Brazil to France. So it's all full of interesting people, interesting cultures, and how is it represented in our industry? Okay, so today we're going to speak about that, diversity in the media, because as I usually say, diversity is not a trend, we are diversity. So who are the best people to talk about diversity today? We have here CAMILLE Eden, Vice President of Recruiting and Talent Development at Nickelodeon, and Mr. Jay Francis, Vice President of Current Series and Diversity at Disney Television Animation. So hi, how are you both?
Hi, how are you?
Good morning. Good.
I'm good. So I want to first ask you, could you please tell us a little bit more about your role? CAMILLE, can you start first, maybe?
Yeah, sure. So hello, it's very, very nice to be a part of this. My role is I'm Vice President of Recruitment, Outreach, and Talent Development at Nickelodeon Animation Studio. We have our main studios in Burbank, but our headquarters are actually in New York. So we work with bringing in new talent, emerging talent, for all of the shows and projects that we work on at Nickelodeon. My role is going out to conferences and schools and attending festivals like this. Also just keeping an eye out for emerging talent. And, before diversity was spoke about as a thing, I was always looking for people that were different, people that were other, and people who looked like me, so I always wanted to see and be able to bring in new talent into the industry. So that's a little bit about what I do at Nickelodeon.
Thank you. And Jay, may I ask you the same question, please?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here and always enjoy being on a panel with my pal Camille. So, well, it's interesting. I really handle different roles at Disney. Some days I'm focused on my role as current series executive, overseeing shows that are in production. Some days I'm working with our development teams, providing support for the projects that we hope to be our next hit series. And then since 2018, I've also had an opportunity to establish and maintain our DEI strategies and initiatives at Disney Television Animation and Disney Junior. So depending on what day it is and depending on which way the wind is blowing, I will have different responsibilities throughout the week, which keeps me active, keeps me on my toes, and to sort of support what Camille was saying, even prior to getting diversity into my title and as part of my official capacity at Disney, it was always something I've been passionate about. And I come from the same perspective as Camille in terms of being able to find talent wherever that talent may live, whether it's at schools, whether it's at different panels or events or expos that we participate in. I think everybody's role in terms of, especially when it comes in animation, is to always be on alert for new and upcoming talent. So I think that's a big priority for us as well.
Well, this is great. And do you see some improvement in the hiring practices?
I guess it depends on what timeline you're using to base that question on. For us, I think it's important to note that many of our strategies and initiatives that are currently in place started not last summer, if we're referencing, the changes and the unrest from last summer. But really, for me specifically, and for our group 3 years ago, when I took on this expanded role, I think the overall work we do and focus on in the DEI space includes hiring diverse talent in both in front and behind the camera. So there's certainly more work to do, to be sure, but overall, I think, yes, our programs created to promote diversity within our studio have been effective in support of a more diverse work environment.
No, yeah, I know that the road is still long. There's still a lot to do. But I'm going to ask the same questions to Camille. Do you see some improvement, even little?
I think that, to echo Jay, I think that, we started doing this work a while ago, and I would say there are improvements. I think, what we definitely need is more awareness. And I think that's, we need to grow awareness of why it's important to hire and bring in diverse talent. It's good for business. It reflects the world that we live in now. We've put measures in place, it's definitely at Nickelodeon to, help people, train people to see why, it's important to understand unconscious bias. We've put in, tools to look at job descriptions to make sure that the job descriptions speak to more than one type of person. We've put in, measures to really help teach people about inclusion and then, it's always been a part of what we've done, at least a part of what I've looked for. And I think I can say the same probably for Jay. But it's always just been there in again, my underlying goals and maybe bigger goals for hiring and bringing in talent. So because I think we're kind of, pushing these efforts through, I'd say there has been change, but there definitely needs to be more, and I think you can recruit and you can hire, as many people as you want, but if you don't have a environment that supports inclusion and diversity, then those people are not going to feel welcome. They're gonna, there'll be issues. So you have to kind of start from within and then work your way out. That's kind of been my belief, and I think at Nickelodeon there's a lot of awareness and movement and change happening to make sure that everybody's aware and understands why. Bringing diverse talent and also it's not just the hiring, it's promoting from within, because all these companies and places have people who are, they might be stuck at a level or, there's so much bright talent probably already within organizations. It's like promoting that talent. And when you move that talent up or give those people opportunity, it creates room to bring more people in. So it's a multi-layered effort. And I think that, yes, there's been improvements, but we still have work to do.
Yeah, we still have work to do. And I feel like people are still backstage and we need to see them on the stage right now.
Yeah, and if I could follow up on that, Camille brought up a really great point, in terms of the sort of parallel lines on which you have to do this work. You sort of referenced the fact that yes, you can hire more diverse people, and certainly that's what we want to do. And I think for all the reasons Camille gave, we have the same approach to that. But there's also, as she referenced, the internal aspect of this too, and the sustainability. And so from the standpoint of how you have to look at this, you can't wait for your in-house, culture to be perfect before you can start bringing in more people, right? Because the people you're looking to hire could bring a positive impact to that culture. So there has to be that sort of parallel track of, absolutely working from within, but also connecting the internal and the external together in a strategic way so that you're not, one doesn't hinge upon the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I have a specific questions. What is, in your opinion, an authentic storyteller? Because I mean, we speak about diversity, but who are best to talk about diversity, in your opinion?
I mean, I think that's a great question because it's one that I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable talking about diversity because I think first and foremost, I think people look at ethnicity and gender first, and that is a big part of it. But diversity is, it's about inclusion. So when you have when you have these rooms or these projects or whatever you have, it's about making space at the table for everybody to have a seat, I think, and it's allowing for, in our world in animation, if you're going to tell a story about a culture or represent a people or represent make sure you have some authentic, voices in that room with you to be able to share and tell their story. And, that person may not be the director or leading the project, but you have to tap into, the culture. You can't just assume and whitewash. And I think that, it's really important to have seat at the table. And I think diversity is about differences, and it's about, bringing a lot of different voices to reflect and make sure that your stories are authentic. But I think it is about creating space, and it's not to say, we're gonna do what's been done before and kind of gloss over and not give this group or this person an identity. It's diving into that. It's really diving into what that culture is about or what that story is really about. And I think that's kind of where you want to start with looking at diversity and inclusion, is just making sure, being aware, asking the right questions, bringing the right people forward.
Yeah, I would say that there's layers to that question as well. I think for me, the simple answer to what an authentic storyteller is someone who shares their truth. I often equate authentic to personal, and I believe the more personal a story, the more compelling, the more passionate that a story is. And to be authentic storytellers, we have to have stories from all points of view, driven by unique experiences. So when we talk about what we're trying to achieve with our stories and having those different perspectives, that makes for more compelling storytelling. I think that's really a key to what we reference in terms of authentic. It was an interesting point Camille just brought up in terms of, there's sort of the obvious look in terms of when you're referencing race, ethnicity, or gender, all of which obviously is important. But diverse is, it's a very broad definition of what diverse is, right? And I think that a big part when you're focusing in on the actual storytelling aspect of it, I always like to say it's diversity of experiences, because when you look at diversity, social economic status, ageism, there are other aspects to it that we all are sort of working with. And when Camille references a seat at the table for everybody, it means just that. So what you're looking to do when and specifically looking at, in our world, say in a writer's room or whatnot, you're looking for a balance of different perspectives, different experiences, all unique to the individual that you're referencing. So I think I think for us specifically, as we sort of reference authentic storytelling, you can only have that authentic storyteller flag to raise if the storytellers are coming from all people, all kinds, all experiences. And I think that's what our goal is, as well as, obviously at Nickelodeon as well. I mean, the goal here is to make sure that whatever that story is, it's going to come from somebody's absolute truth. And that's, I think, the goal for us, is to make sure that our crews and our writer rooms and the stories we tell all have those unique perspectives, because I think that's what's going to make more compelling stories.
Yeah, and I think, diversity means representation of all kind of persons, and it in terms of hiring of, from what I heard from you both, it's in front of the camera and behind the camera. All the team has to be represented. So diversity means representation, and I feel so bad that we only have a few minutes to talk about that, because it's a wide subject, and with the timing, it's very short. So can I ask you for a short conclusion for this panel? Maybe Jay, if you want.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I think some of the things that we sort of talk about in terms of how we're trying to achieve the this work that we do is, in our division, we've created a number of mentorship and internship programs, created networking events that puts diverse talent in direct connection with both our senior creative leadership. We have a TVA and Disney Junior Apprentice Writer Training Program, and under our Disney branded television division, our Creative Talent Development Inclusion Group has created a number of different programs that engages the entire creative ecosystem, including its flagship writers, directors, and PA programs. So it's these type of programs that we're putting in place that sort of can bring all of this together. And it's a heavy lift, to be sure. But I think the reality for us is that I'm happy to see that there is a very specific spotlight on this work. I see many more DEI jobs have come through, now, which I think is important. I hope one day you won't need to have that sort of, person, because it will just be more organic. But I think the reality for us is that we need to be intentional and committed to doing this, and everybody has to be aligned together and for it to be successful. And I think that's the reference to more work to be done in this space.
Thank you. Camille?
No, Jay put it so beautifully, but I think, again, it's we've been doing this work for a while, but I feel like we've only just begun, and there's, as we both said, there's still so much work to do. And, and I think we, what we've seen since the unrest of the summer, or it's May of last year, we've seen a lot of movements come forward. We've seen a lot of people, step forward and say, we need to do something, and we need to do something, and we need to keep doing something. It's great to get all these movements started, but it's like, we have to keep them going and, keep moving forward with this work. A lot of organizations have sprung up from this. There's a lot of organizations who've already been, working on this for years that are, getting even more, of a spotlight on them. We also have at Nickelodeon, we've got programs, our Artists and Writers program, our intern program, taking a pledge and making sure that our shows and productions are committed to this work. It's bringing in diverse storytellers and projects and creators and artists and making room at the table, like we spoke about. But it's like any relationship, you have to keep putting work into it to keep it going forward, and you have to make sure that you've got that representation and as Jay put it, unique, authentic stories. So we've opened this door, and when we were speaking about this earlier, we talked about, making space and bringing somebody else along with you. When you get through that door, when you make, you get that step up, you bring somebody else, you pay it forward, you reach back, right? So we're doing this. The next generation is going to come in and hopefully they're going to continue it. And we just keep going and going. And as Jay said, until we don't have to have these conferences about this anymore, and we can focus, we've got all these beautiful, great stories out there with all these amazing creators. And, hopefully some of the people in this audience are going to be there in the future telling their stories. And we won't need to do this anymore. But for now, we're here. So we're going to use this platform and we're going to bring people along, and hopefully we're going to continue this work, well on until we don't have to anymore.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I have nothing more to add to this. I mean, yeah, the process is still ongoing. And I mean, we are working hard to make it obvious that the world is different, the world is beautiful. But let's bring all these diverse people work together and bring the beautiful content to the screen everywhere, and make the representation so the kids that look right now different, they will see no difference on the screen. So thank you so much, both of you, for your time. And people, I mean, we can ask questions on the chat. So any questions you have, you can put it on the chat, because I know it was short. We have a lot more to tell, but it was a short session. So thank you so much again. And I'll see you somewhere, maybe digitally or for real. So thank you, and have a nice Kingston Festival. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields, and we've had the opportunity to meet and work with a lot of wonderful people. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Duck is in. Roll, roll, roll! Hey there, hi there, ho there, jump! This friend business is amazing.
There's so much happening around here.